What's up, y'all? This is your boy Chef C Black with another OverCast podcast. I have to my right Crash.
What's up?
And to my left, Yume.
What's going on, everybody?
Alright, and this will be your Injustice podcast, where we're going to talk about all things Injustice. But before we get started, we have one announcement, rather. We heard you. You said it. You spoken about my name. Alright. But first, before I say that, I'm going to need all y'all people to put some respect on my name, okay?
Oh my gosh, here we go.
I'm going to need y'all to put some respect on my name. You know, I understand, like, y'all were saying, like, it was long and stuff. But, I mean, I hear y'all just put my name in these streets out here just talking dirty. And I'm going to need y'all to put some respect on it. So, because I want to please the people, you know, for this, I did change my name. And my new name from now on will be DC Black.
It's a lot easier to say than Chef C Black. That's just like a long
it's a
mouthful of fucking Laffy Taffy right there, man.
But Laffy Taffy is good though. Laffy Taffy is awesome, especially you know when it's not melted in your pocket and all sticky and stuff. Like
the look on you made face as you explained that.
Like Laffy Taffy, especially the cherry.
Okay.
Cherry Laffy Taffy.
Okay, so this isn't about Laffy Taffy.
Yes, you are absolutely right. This is about Injustice, which I have been so excited to talk about since, you know, they announced the game and that they announced like the character list. I've been super excited, like on 12.
All right, but before we go that deep into it, just for anybody who potentially doesn't know what Injustice is a storyline branch from DC Comics. Particularly, we're talking about Injustice 2, which is a game coming out in about, what is this, like 2 weeks? A little under 2 weeks at this point?
Yeah.
It's very much modeled after the Mortal Kombat games as it's made by Nether Realm Studios. The first game pretty much went through a nice bit of story in the original Injustice comic line, but of course it didn't go into all of the details, of which, if you guys wasn't sure, DC Black here is actually a really, really good guy to talk to about this stuff.
Absolutely.
He's really, really into the comics, DC Comics and Marvel, but this particular storyline he actually knows a great deal about, which actually I've been talking to him about it for a while, and we've actually gained a nice amount of knowledge, so we'll probably be dropping a good bit of information for anybody who's only played the games and never seen the comics. We actually got your back on this.
Yeah,
just let you know. Stay tuned.
Yeah, and I think like one of the major things, I will say is a disadvantage, is the fact that they didn't explain the fact that they explained, oh, hey, we bring out some comic books that's going to lead in. The problem was that when they planned on the comic book, it was only supposed to go up to year 4. And then the game was supposed, and that's when you insert the plot line for the game. But when they came out with the first year and then the second year, by the time that third year kind of started, that second year kind of started ending and the third year starting, like Injustice was selling, like the amount of copies that they were selling was off the charts. So much so that they were like, okay, well, we going to add another year because the fans just demanded, like, the writing for the story was so good. And what was also great about it was the fact that every year, so there's 5 years, and each year had a different writer contributing to it. So you had, while they were telling an overarching story, it was more so like an anthology because you also had different writers telling the story, that year's story, but the art was kind of different. They just kind of put their own spin to it. They took what needed to be said and put their own spin to it.
Okay, but to keep it simple, can we give the fans a very, very brief and quick overview of what's happening in Injustice? Because
so the first game,
you can use the first game, just the overall plot.
Okay, so this is gonna be like I can't even say mild spoilers. Like this is gonna be major spoilers from the first game. So if you did not play the first game,
actually, before you go into the major spoilers, just like literally the lightest touch. Like if somebody wanted to read the comic book, but they said no spoilers. What would
okay. So for the comic book with no spoilers, I would say go watch Injustice Crisis on Two Earths, because that would probably be the closest thing that you could do to watch it that will be like, okay, well, I'm kind of, because that's honestly the whole world of Injustice kind of took the plot point from Crisis on Two Earths, and that was just simply that's a DC animated movie about the Justice League finding out that there's a multiverse, and they go on Earth to fight the evil Justice League, who's called the Crime Syndicate. That's kind of what this is, Injustice is, but they kind of turn it on its head, because instead of all the Justice League being bad, it's Superman having a bad Justice League, and Batman having a good Justice League, so to speak. Except Superman has all the broken characters on his team, like all of the broken characters, and Batman is stuck. He kind of has some OP people on his side, but Superman honestly goes into the deep dark crevices of DC Comics of the most broken characters ever. There's at one point in the comic book, this is no spoiler, where things get so bad that the fabric of the universe start falling apart. And if you don't know who those two characters are, there's only two characters that can actually do that. Maybe three. But there's only two characters that can actually just destroy the fabric of reality. And they both show up and fight each other. That is how broken things get in DC in the Injustice storyline. But no, like the comic, like the reason why I said spoilers, because when we get to the point of talking about Injustice and leading into Injustice 2, there's going to definitely be spoilers. So I suggest like you go play the game first, or at least watch, because they have clips on YouTube of people just playing through the story.
We don't want them to do that. We don't want them to do that. We don't want them to do this simply because. And I was gonna go ahead and break it after you gave a brief explanation, but obviously you didn't really go brief. You went a lot more in depth than I was expecting. What I was expecting you to say, as far as is just giving them a brief overview. The Injustice comics follow a storyline where some crazy stuff happens to Superman, and Superman turns rogue. And Superman forms, like you said, more or less a dark version of the Justice League. But in his mind, what he's doing in the world is justice. While, of course, on the other side, which would have been Batman's side, Batman is supposed to be what justice was supposed to be before Superman got pushed over the edge by a horrible fate that happened in that timeline. That's pretty much the light version, just so you understand. So in this version, Superman would be considered the bad guy, while Batman would still, of course, be considered the quote-unquote good guy. It's about as light as we can put it, of course, without going into spoilers or going way too much into each year or too much detail. Now, the reason why I said we don't really want people to go and just watch the story is because Save Point is actually going to provide you with the very first Injustice game story mode played out for you. So you'll actually get a chance to watch everything that happens through the first Injustice game right before the second Injustice game comes out.
Right. And also, like, at the end, we're going to give you some recommendations for, like, if you want to just read, like, a quick overview of, like, the comic book. If you're a comic book fan like I am, and you're interested in the Injustice comic, the first for the first year. Well, not the first year, but the first game. We're going to definitely give you some recommendations where you can go just watch it really quick so you can be caught up by the time the second game comes out. But one thing we have to address is the fact that this dude, Superman, you realize in Injustice how broken Superman is.
I mean, Superman's always been broken, though.
Forever.
He has been broken, but this dude do some of the most broken things, just impossible.
I mean, think about it. He's always been holding back, and this was his story arc where he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of sums it up pretty well. But more so than that, beyond Superman, like just showing how broken he is, I think the best part about the Injustice storyline is while Superman's showing his broken side, you're realizing how other small details of other characters that may get added to how he is makes him impossible to deal with.
Well, see, this is where I disagree. And this is where, like I said, this is where this is where the comic book fan kind of goes into saying, well, that's not entirely true, because though Superman is broken, the Injustice comic book shows you a couple of flaws that, truth be told, if the situation was to ever go left, like go even further left than it already had been, Superman would be dealt with very fast.
Well, of course. But think about it like this. Of course, because I don't want to give spoilers, Superman comes into contact with a certain accessory. And this accessory actually made him stronger based off of things that he was accomplishing. And based off of what he did, it literally amplified his power.
Well, yeah. That part isn't in the game.
Well, not in the game, but I'm just saying.
But yeah, like
overall,
this said item that Superman comes in contact with. First off, I never would have dreamt. I never really, until like I saw it, I was like, wait, it's impossible for him to have that. But then when you think about it and you realize how dangerous he becomes. If he was to ever get this artifact for real, like he will become extremely dangerous. You realize, even Batman realized, like he cannot be stopped. Like with this said item, it is impossible to defeat Superman, even with the Bat family. And as extensive as the Bat family is, it was over. And I honestly wish we would get in the actual canon of like DC Rebirth. I actually wish we would get to see a what if story if Superman would get this item, because I think it would put everybody on notice to understand that Superman is incredibly dangerous.
That Superman needs to be eliminated.
Yeah, like you begin to see how Superman becomes very problematic, and like honestly, he cannot be stopped. But you know, even with the first game, you really, and it goes even. And one thing I loved about the game and the writers of the game is the fact that they really played on the fact even throughout the comic, they really play on that fact of like, do you really think that Superman is evil? Because I mean, if what happened to Superman happened to you, would you not react the same way he did? You know, or would you react the way Batman did?
Good point.
You know, you can't really honestly say that you would not react the way that Superman did, because I mean, it was terrible. Like the stuff that happened to him, that was dirty.
the dirtiest.
Yeah, that was probably some of the darkest stuff that has ever happened in Superman's whole iteration. Period.
Okay. Well, I mean, going off of that, so. Because DC Black, you know way more than I do. How do you feel about the direction that Injustice 2 story is going in? Are you a fan of it? Do you see any flaws in it?
I think that this story is going to really show if they have the longevity to actually do more Injustice stories, or is it going to be at a 2 and then stop? Because if you notice, this story is introducing Brainiac, of course, as the main villain. And I love
was a great idea.
Yes, it was a phenomenal idea, because Brainiac is a villain, Superman villain that is extremely underused, but he presents so much of a credible threat. Because let's be honest, Superman is not the brightest light bulb in the pack. Okay.
Obviously, that's his greatest weakness, in my opinion.
Exactly. Like, he's not the big... Like, some of the stuff... There's a fun... In that DC animated movie I told you guys to suggest to you guys, Crisis on Two Earths, there's a point in the movie where Superman... Basically, there's a bomb on the planet, or whatever, and Superman says, why don't I just fly out into space and move the planet? And Batman looked at him and said, Clark, even if I had all day, I couldn't explain to you all the ways that is wrong. Like, even Batman realized, like, when he let that come out his mouth, was like, dude, how you gonna move a planet? Like, it's not like a ball and it's solid. Like, you sound stupid. But it not only that, I think also Supergirl was a great addition because, I mean, let's be honest. Superman, like, if you look at when we do the like story walkthrough of Injustice, you're gonna see that Superman's lineup was like we said before, it was very broken. But with this story, it kind of evens it out a little bit. It's like, okay, well, I see Superman's brokenness, and I'll raise you a character that no matter how many times Superman has killed him, he's come right back. In some way, shape, or form, he's always come back. Even now, even the most recently in the New 52, Brainiac came right on back. And they're kind of sowing the seeds for another character to return. I'm not going to spoil it for all you people that want to maybe get into comic books. But there another Superman villain that supposedly died. He's coming right. They're sowing the seeds for him to come back. So I think this story is definitely going to be an interesting one. I think also it's going to allow you to see some more of, like, expand on his story and characterization. Only problem I do have with the story is that I really hope they don't, like, I hope Kara's characterization does not get lost in the fumble of all the characters, because Supergirl is another DC character that is very underutilized. Like, just recently, Kara has been getting played because of the Supergirl television show. Other than that, most people look at Supergirl and be like, "Oh, so you the little girl to play Superman? Okay, so you're here. Okay, that's cool. Superman light. That's great."
She basically got treated like a B-list superhero. Exactly.
Like, even though, truth be told, like, she's sacrificed her life for the whole DC universe. Mm-hmm. But, like, nobody has really known how to really use Kara Zor-El.
Well, even with that, just going more so into how people view DC characters, Supergirl is Supergirl. But also, Power Girl is Supergirl, and she actually has more overall character popularity than Supergirl, which is a good reason why I'm glad that they're using Supergirl as the iteration in this game, because I feel like this will give her a lot more popularity as the superhero that she is versus people kind of just writing her off.
Well, yeah, and a lot of Power Girl was really popular somewhere basically in the 90s. Like, you really had a great, and you had the Supergirl old television show rather. Mm-hmm. Power Girl really got popular in the comic books during, I want to say she was on Justice Society of America. That's when she was on there, as well as, you seeing her in the Superman comic book and stuff. But she's not originally from this Earth. She's Earth 2 Supergirl. So there's that's a whole deep rabbit hole in itself that I'm not gonna go into.
Yeah, please.
But definitely, like, Power Girl is one of those characters where she's gonna be interesting. I'm more so interested in Power Girl's ending. Because Power Girl's ending could introduce, in which we're going to get into this later on, because there's a mode. I don't know if you guys know. There's a mode in Injustice 2 called the multiverse mode, which I personally am excited for because this could open the door for them to actually expand on the game and say, hey, the Injustice world, okay, well, Injustice happens, Brainiac does invade. Wait, them beating Brainiac opens the door for the multiverse, and villains from other Earths decide, hey, that Injustice world is ripe for the pickings. It'd be a shame if I was to come there and kill all the superheroes.
Basically, Dragon Ball Z what ifs from, what was that, Tenkaichi 3?
Tenkaichi 3, or I know they did it in
even
Rage and Blast too.
Yeah,
And well, Xenoverse to a degree. Xenoverse in itself is a what if situation. But I'm sorry.
I was just about to go from there and just so basically we already got a decent lineup of characters, and I just wanted to ask you guys, who do you like so far, and who are you still expecting?
Okay.
Well, me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate everybody's suit on this game, with the exception of Scarecrow, Brainiac, Black Adam, and Brainiac, Black Adam, Scarecrow, Robin, aka Damian Wayne, and what's her name? Shoot, Harley Quinn. Everybody else costume.
I don't care for Brainiac's look because Brainiac constantly reminds me of
Doc Ock.
No, what's the name from Marvel's Capcom Infinity War or whatever it's called?
Ultron?
Yes.
Ultron? Well,
yes.
But you have to understand now. This is where you have to understand too that they've changed. So the Brainiac that we all saw in the '90s cartoon Brainiac has changed his look,
of course,
over the years,
many times.
But the green looking Brainiac with the circles and everything, that's actually what he looks like. I thought you was going to more so say Doc Ock, because when I first saw him, I was like, did y'all really rip off Dr. Octopus? I was like, wow, DC, like, low blow to Marvel. Like a real low blow. But, okay, the armor, the custom costumes that you can make, where it's different armors you can put on the character and everything, it's just like, man... Like you could the costumes on the first Injustice was
that's what I was
good.
Say. The costumes on the first Injustice was good, but
to be fair though, the costumes that they used in the first Injustice were very akin to their natural outfits.
Yeah, now they got armored, beefed up outfits in this one.
Yeah, so they've changed around the way a lot of the characters look to make the game feel fresh. I understand why they made the choices that they made. And I will also say it's odd that you said you like specific character outfits, which are very much akin to what their actual outfits look like. Though you also mentioned the characters whose outfit you like, that I will say I don't too much care for.
Oh,
I don't care for Harley Quinn's outfit.
I love her. Like Harley's. The reason why I like Harley's because Harley's goes back to the New 52. I just don't like the fact that, like, even with the different Kryptonian modifications you can make to Supergirl, Superman, I'm just like it just lacks something. It's just like the problem I have is like you piling a bunch of armor on a character that never had armor to begin with, and it's like some of it is just not needed. I understand like you want customization just for the characters to look different, but then there's such a thing as like too much armor. Like Flash, honestly, I think Flash is going to have the best customization.
I like Flash's suit.
I do, but I think he's going to have the best customization on the game. Period. Like, I don't think no other character is going to have better customization than him.
Like, I can't really say that right now.
I don't think so. Even Dr. Fate, as much as cool as Dr. Fate look, I don't think he's going to have his customization is not going to be that good.
Well, to be fair, with the customizations, it's not like they're forcing you to use customizations.
Yeah, this is true.
That's totally up to you if you want to use certain customizations. But I will say I've seen other characters' customization. I'm like, all right, that's not that bad. Like For instance, I've seen Poison Ivy's customizations. One of them is terrible looking. The other one is like, okay, that actually looks pretty good. So, I don't know. I guess it just depends on the character, on what their customizations may look like. Granted, let's say you did want to make your character look a little different, but you didn't really want to change your outfit. As far as I've noticed, there's just a way to change the color, which is fine. In my opinion, I think that's actually pretty good, because in most natural fighting games, that's about all the options they give you. But change your color, you use your color, and that's your color.
But then the problem comes in is the fact is that with these armors is also coming with different buffs.
Attributes.
Different attributes. And it's just like, okay, well, if I'm a person that I like Harley Quinn's traditional costume, and then you come at me with this super armored down Batman that's just like at a Superman level strength, it's going to be like, okay, well, what Harley gonna do out here in these streets? Because she looking a little.
Well, I feel they have a balance system for that.
They do, and I think that's the thing that most people won't get until they actually get into the game. Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, why would I want to play against level 20 Batman and I'm only like level 3?" Well, if you're still good at the game, you're gonna beat that Batman. It's not like, oh, this Batman has like more power than you. Not only in certain modes will that matter, and that's usually like certain single player modes. But as far as like facing other people, it doesn't matter. Which is where it matters, in my opinion. The part about the armor that I will say that is important is certain armor pieces will give you specific changes to certain moves that are very, very similar to Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X's variations, which to me that makes perfect sense. Think about it. Like in Mortal Kombat 10, my main character was Melina. She had a move set for one of her moves that I really, really liked, and that was in her Ravenous move set. In that move set, she also didn't wear a mask, so she looks very, very feral. Didn't quite like it, but I understood why she didn't wear the mask. But here's the thing. It was an understandable outfit change. And while I would have loved to just wear the piercing outfit, which ended up being the variation that I used the most out of necessity, it was one of those things where I would rather wear this outfit with this variation. But you can't. So I can't really say that this is like new or something that's like, oh, why would they do such a thing? And it's like, well, this is Nether Realm Studios. They've done this before.
Right.
So as far as that goes, with the studio that's creating the game, this makes 100% sense to me.
It makes sense, but like I said, at the same time, it's just like, I just feel like with the armor, like, there's a such thing, in my opinion, as too much armor. Where you just, like, your character just look bulky. And that's kind of my concern, is that, like, you're going to have characters that's going to look super bulky, and you're going to have that one patch come out soon as the game comes out that is going to be like, okay, well, we got to change some things because characters out here looking way too bulky in all this armor.
I don't really think that would be.
I only think certain characters look bulky. Because, like I said, I've seen other characters, I've seen what they wear and their armor types, and it's like, it still says pretty true to kin to what the character would naturally look like. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you get Batman. Of course, he looks like a walking freaking tank. But when you think about outfits that Batman wears, that makes 100% sense. But then you look at, let's say, for instance, Catwoman. Her outfit doesn't look overly...
I don't even think Catwoman has armor on.
Exactly, and that's my point. It's like she has upgradable pieces of clothing, but it's not actual freaking bulk armor. It's just the characters that they may have armor, or they may just have different clothes variations. For instance, Flash. You look at his outfit, it's not really armor. It's more... Which
I'm kind of surprised they changed his suit, because in Injustice he had like that armor, which of course within Justice League movie just coming out, they translated that into the movie. Now it's just like his suit is like more so a middle ground between the TV show Flash.
That's exactly
and the Justice League Flash.
So yeah, let's get into that actually. a lot of the characters that they added in this game are characters that now have TV shows, now have been shown in other TV shows or something. Like, the marketing for this particular Injustice game is extremely heavy on animated movies, CW versions of the shows, and everything. Think about it. They have Green Arrow back. He's supposed to be dead, but they put him back because Arrow is extremely popular.
Well,
I know why he's there, but I'm saying they could have completely did without him being there, but they didn't. Why? Because marketing.
Well, yes, and the fact with everything that happened in the comic book, but I will say one character that I noticed was in there that I was shocked about, honestly, was what's her name?
Black Canary.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
Black Canary.
no, I wasn't shocked about Black Canary. Well, yes, I was shocked because I had to go back and reread and re-look at the comic book because I thought that woman died. But the person I was shocked about was Swamp Thing. I was shocked about Swamp Thing. Not so much Poison Ivy, but Swamp Thing, Dr. Fate, and I was shocked about Scarecrow. I was shocked about Scarecrow.
I will say I'm shocked about Scarecrow because I don't want to spoil it, but we'll just say Scarecrow was very much a part of the start of this whole Injustice arc, and Scarecrow should no longer be in the Injustice comic right now. Like, him being in the game
is problematic.
It's problematic to the point where they have to explain themselves now.
Which is why I said, like, guaranteed in this game they're not going to explain it, but in the comic they will. And that's another thing I just find is a disadvantage as a gamer, that you're now basically telling me in order to understand certain things, I have to go read a comic book.
But then at the same time, as a gamer, they do make it so it won't cross your mind that this character should not be in this situation. You say, hey, it's working for what's going on in the game, and it works.
Well, we don't know. We don't know yet in story-wise how Scarecrow works within the plot of Injustice 2.
It doesn't matter, because if you didn't read comic books, you wouldn't know he's displaced at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
That's my point. You wouldn't understand
if you didn't read the comics, you would have noticed he was in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the first one, but wasn't a playable character.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good number of them
that
are in this one now.
We're in the first one, but weren't playable characters. But in this one, it's like, okay, he's a playable character. Nothing in the first game made you think that he should be a playable character in this one. Now he is, and it's like, all right, cool, I get to play with him. But, of course, to someone who follows comics heavily, you're sitting here like, what? That doesn't make sense. Just like people who watch movie renditions of things that used to be books, and they're upset about things, but the person who's watching have no idea why it's wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it works because it makes sense to the story that they're reading.
Right. And like even with Swamp Thing, I understand now why Swamp Thing was in there because of the Justice League Dark animated movie that came out, as well as they're actually working on working on the Dark Universe, which is going to be an extension of the DCEU. And they're working on a Justice League Dark movie, and he will be in it.
Okay.
But I was shocked about Poison Ivy. I was kind of shocked about Poison Ivy, but I just wasn't expecting her to be utilized. Like, I really wasn't expecting this game to be loaded down with so many Batman characters. And this is like
really.
I have to stop and look at it.
Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I say that is because they utilize Batman characters so much so it's just like, okay, well, I would have me personally, they put Captain Cole in there. I would have liked to see Mirror Master as a playable character.
But I'm pretty sure they threw Captain Cole in there because of the Flash TV series.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I personally would have liked
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow. But like I would have liked Mirror Master would have been a great character to play as, because you can't say you wouldn't have fun spamming with those mirrors.
No, I hear that. Like I said, the Mirror Master is like another one of those villains that needs some light. You know, I'm glad they did Captain Cold because literally until he starred in his own show, you didn't hear about him. Yeah, so literally until you heard about him in his own series, you didn't even think about Captain Cold. A lot of people didn't even know Captain Cold probably was a main villain until that. So this is a good chance to shed some light on him. It would have been a good chance to shed some light on Mirror Master, but they did Captain Cold instead, which I'm still happy with. So
right, but I would say a character that I think that I'm looking forward to playing with is probably going. I mean, Black Canary is going to be cool, but the character I'm looking forward to playing as is Scarecrow. I think which is kind of going to lead into my next question. I think Scarecrow is going to be a really great character to play with. That chain and hook is going to be incredibly insane. The fact that also, by the way, the fact that this dude Green Arrow has a full screen teleport is ridiculous. But that leads into my next question: who do you think is going to be the first character to get nerfed?
To actually get nerfed? Who do you think the weakest character in the game is going to be? And I'll answer that question instantly.
I don't know. In the first one, it was Bane. I think
Bane.
I don't think Bane's gonna be the weakest character. I think the weakest character we're gonna have is probably gonna be Poison Ivy. It's gonna be a toss between Poison Ivy and
I'm gonna tell you why I don't think Poison Ivy is gonna be the weakest character. I watched her gameplay. I watched the tools that she has. I feel like she's going to be that one character that's going to, and not saying she's going to be like this character, but if you've watched any of the Mortal Kombat things, you'll notice that there are some characters that have a specific lockdown game that while you're sitting there blocking, you've lost about a fourth of your health just to get out of one block string. I feel like Poison Ivy may be that character. Why? Because Poison Ivy can drop down a creature that can shoot things completely on its own, as well as keep you on the other end of the screen. So think about this. You're trying to play as... He can, but not the same way. Not the same way. He doesn't control space. He can keep you where you are,
he can keep you where you
but
are.
he doesn't control space above you, space in front of you, space where you're standing.
Well,
she controls all of that.
The cat does that.
The cat does, but only the cat.
Okay,
that's my point. It's kind of like using in the very first Injustice, like using Zod's demon,
right?
Where it can hit you, it can keep you locked down, but only for a short amount of time. Her little autonomous thing puts it in a situation where if she needs to gain resources, that keeps her at a point where she can gain resources and put you back across.
And I think also she has a move that actually heals her too.
She does.
Her and Swamp Thing does.
Yes, they can lay down gravel, gravel, whatever, and they can heal. So if she has whips, she can literally spawn an attack on your location, and she can control the space above you, as well as have something shoot at you from behind her.
Which I'm kind of curious about, like why they didn't make her an extra skin with Swamp Thing in actual character. Because when you look at them, they actually kind of play very similar. Like
not really. Swamp Thing is a grappler, half grappler, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
can you imagine Poison Ivy running up and just strong handing you? No, you can't. No. It doesn't work.
But it's just gonna be. But like to have them both in both of them in the game is just like...
I think you're just thinking of it more so because they control the similar elements. But if that's the case, why would you keep, let's say, Batgirl and Damian and it's like, well, they all use these types of gadgets, and it's like, but they all fight a little different or very much different.
So you think who do you think the first character to be nerfed is going to be?
Well, whoever the weakest character is in the game is probably going to be the first character to get nerfed in a weird way. I don't know why they always do this. They find whoever is doing terribly, they try to... they try to give them some sort of power up, but with that they always think, oh, that may be too strong, and they take away whatever was keeping that character good in the first place. Or not good, keeping that character where they were in the first place, and then it's like, oh, you have this power up, but now you have no way to use it.
So who do you think is the first character to get a buff? Like
Superman.
I don't think it's Superman. I think it's going to be Supergirl.
Supergirl, Superman, I guess. I would say...
No, I'm confused. Why do y'all think that?
I think Supergirl right now is probably the strongest character in the game. Like, hands down. Like, she's way stronger than Superman. Like, the videos I've watched of Supergirl laying hands on somebody, her eye beam is a full screen heat. She has full screen heat vision.
But what about Darkseid?
Darkseid?
Darkseid. I'm sorry.
Darkseid, yeah, but yeah, okay, well, then, yeah.
Because, you got that super, too.
Omega, the fact that this dude can turn his back, shoot you with the Omega beams, but the Omega beams leave the screen on one end and come at you on... Yeah. But I still think...
Granted, I think it goes up every time. I don't think it changed direction. So as long as your ass ain't hopping around, you're not going to get caught by it like that.
You say that. See, it wouldn't be as scary if this was like the traditional Mortal Kombat game where you have a block button. In this game, you don't. You actually have to block. You have to hold back. So the amount of mind games is going to be similar to that of Scorpion, in my opinion, from the first game. When Scorpion first came out, you know how Scorpion does his teleports through the back of the screen?
Yeah.
And the way blocking works in the Injustice Game 2, it was very, very easy for someone to teleport and hit you with an overhead based off of how he was, because you'd end up pressing either down back or you'd press back, but he'd still catch you because of the way blocking worked. So whatever character can attack you and literally cause the game to hiccup on your blocking is going to be the first major nerf, of course. But I still feel like whoever the weakest character in the game is also going to get a buff nerf, which they give them a buff, but then they nerf them at the same time, which literally renders the buff useless. And I'm going to hate it if it's going to be a character that I'm going to use, because sometimes it works out like that. So
saying that, so like, who are you fancying right now, and who do you expect to still pop up?
And see, that's the sad part about it. I really don't have a character that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to play this character in this game. Like, they literally hit none of those characters that I was absolutely stunned by that I really wanted to play. Which would be, for example, Static or Red Hood. I was looking for those two characters. I'm like, I'm hoping they'll show up in there. I'm still kind of hoping they'll show up as DLC, but it doesn't seem like it.
Well, it's rumored that actually Static it's rumored that he's going to be there
as DLC.
As DLC, and even Ed Boon, the little teases he put on his Twitter, it's kind of like leaning towards the fact that Static Shock will be in there.
Ed Boon is more of a troll than Yoshinori Ono. I don't trust anything he says until it actually shows up, because he will put out something, people will decode it 5 years later, and it had nothing to do with anything that happened. That's why I'm like, Until it's official, I barely take all of those things to complete heart. Granted, the leaked list has been very, very accurate to a degree. So, like, they've said certain characters will be in, and those characters end up being secondary skins rather than actual characters. So it's like, I see that's a thing, but it's like, it's kind of hard to say, oh, this was right or wrong from that. So if that's the case, yeah, they said Static will be in the game. We'll see. But once again, we obviously see that he's going to have to be DLC. Like, he's not going to be a part of the main roster. But yeah, I think between now and the game coming out, they may have one more character reveal.
I thought they released all of them.
Did they?
Yeah, Joker was the last person.
I thought there was one more outside of Joker because it's 9 DLC characters. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's 9 DLC characters, but if you look at the website, they actually show
the outline of them.
They show boxes, And Joker was supposed to be revealed on the 28th, which he was. And then they have 10 open boxes after that. Now, at first, I thought it could have been like Brainiac or Darkseid, but they're already revealed on the site. Mm-hmm. So if there's 10 slots and they say there's 9 DLC characters, that automatically kind of gives you that idea that maybe there's one more. Now, of course, I could be completely wrong about this, but
so here's the thing. This is the rumored DLC characters that was supposed to come out. We got Starfire, Black Manta, Spawn, Terra, Katana, Clarion, and Static Shock.
Man, I think Spawn will happen.
What of that list? What do you think is the most? Of that 7, because I named 7 characters. What would be the ones that's most likely and then to happen, and the ones that you guys think are the least likely to happen?
Spawn will most likely happen.
Starfire will most likely happen.
Right. Okay, I agree. I agree with both of your choices. I think, honestly, the one that's probably, the 2 that's probably going to happen for sure is, 3. I have 3. I think your 2 definitely are going to happen, but I think also Terra's going to happen.
I can see that.
I can see it also.
Terra, just because of Judas' contract, it just was
released. Beast Boy.
So we're transitioning into characters that should have been, and we were talking about Beast Boy a little bit.
The reason we got on the Beast Boy is because when I asked the question about what character that you excited to have and who you expect to see, the character I was excited to have was Damian. Like, I'm so stoked about that. I love Robin. So I was happy to hear that. I love Damian. It's my favorite Robin. And then, as far as the character I expected to see or wanted to see was Beast Boy. And as I said that, Chris said, did you really want Beast Boy or did you like the idea of Beast Boy? And I sat here and I thought about it. I tried to think, how would he be iterated into the game? And Chris, you said?
I said that his special moves would be him turning into the classic animals he turned into. A cheetah, a gorilla, the dog, dinosaur, that's it. But what would his special character ability be? Because it's not going to be turned into another animal, because that's his moveset.
And I mentioned that, I don't know, he could probably do something where his special meter actually brings in other, like, animal, quote-unquote, friends to help him. Kind of like how other characters have characters, like mini characters that jump out and shoot stuff, like Poison Ivy or something. But he could probably have another character that'll come in and swoop in, and when he presses the button, it'll attack. It gives him more combo potential, which kind of makes a little bit of sense. Or it just being used as a disruptor, like controlling a bird, that when he presses the button, the bird comes down, and if you aren't blocking, it'll lock you down where he can continue doing a combo. He gets to use it like 3 times before it goes on cooldown. And then let's say he has special combos where he can just press the button in the middle of it, and then it kind of locks you down again, and he can continue on doing a combo. Stuff like that.
And I said that, but Beast Boy never had the ability to control animals, and which was Crash's response was,
not every character's ability makes 100% sense to what they naturally have been able to do.
And I told him to name one.
And I said Harley's.
And I'm like, what about, because maybe I can't recollect, but I can't remember what Harley.
My point about Harley's was that her special ability, at least from the first, I don't know if they changed in this one, was that when she uses her ability, she gets random power-ups. Now, these random power-ups were just made because they were like, well, we can throw these things together and make it make sense. Such as, like, seeing a Joker picture increases her health. Or just randomly throwing a bomb. So, it didn't really make much sense. But it was just something that they gave her that just...
But Harley character is all about randomness, though.
So, Beast Boy's character is all about beasts. My point that I was making is, they could come up with some ragtag ass ability for Beast Boy to use. It's kind of a little bit outside of his transformations, but inside of his transformations.
Yeah.
While you can't really think about what it could be at the moment, I'm pretty sure if they did, you would be like, okay. Because they've done it with other characters, like I said, with Harley, that in the long run, you were like, yeah, okay.
I don't know. I personally wouldn't have cared for Beast Boy being like just like a couple other characters in the game where I'm just like, oh, you're here.
Oh, like who?
Honestly, I really don't care too much for hey, shoot me if you want to, but I truly don't care to see what's her name in here, Poison Ivy. I don't really care so much for her.
So from this podcast, I've automatically understood that Chris just doesn't like Poison Ivy.
No, it's right. No,
like everything he said has been against Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy is okay, but I just like, she's one of those characters for me where I'm just like, oh, well, hey, you here. That's cool. For me, Poison Ivy is like that extra thing that you get, or that one person that comes to a party where you're like, oh, hey, you here. You wasn't especially like, you wasn't specifically like looking forward to them coming, but you wasn't saying they couldn't come. You was like, oh, hey, you here.
Well, to be fair,
Poison Ivy. I mean, they kind of needed more females.
I mean, I could have named a couple more female characters they could have brought on.
I'm pretty sure you could name one, and I probably wouldn't agree with it. So,
yeah.
So, I mean...
I personally think they could have brought Killer Frost back. I'm just saying. Like, they could have brought Killer Frost back.
But then, I mean, you already got Captain Cold.
Exactly, and that's exactly...
We already got Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing. Like, it wouldn't have mattered.
But the point is, the way that they did that, it makes more sense. Killer Frost has been in the game. Swamp Thing nor Poison Ivy have been in the game.
This is also true, but...
they have Captain Cold now. I guarantee you if Injustice 3 comes out, either both of those characters or one of those characters will not be returning.
I mean, I suppose.
I'm just saying. For instance, we got Damian Wayne now. We no longer have, of course, Nightwing. Now, I know what you're going to say.
No, what was I going to say?
You were going to bring up something based off of the comic.
No, that's not what I was about to say.
What were you going to say?
I was actually going to say is, if they really wanted to do another Robin character, they could have also included Red Robin, which is Tim Drake. They could have put. They could have put Tim Drake. Honestly, and that's the thing. That's another character that could have been in the game. Tim Drake don't get no shine. Like, he's like the black sheep of the family. Where it's like,
the only time you get his shine is in the comics, and it still ain't enough. But yeah,
Tim Drake is that person where it's like, hey, you here at the party.
Damian is in all the animated films, so it makes sense why Damian is in the lineup.
Yeah, this is true. I agree.
And Damian has a very, very strong antagonistic connection to Batman.
And he's just the biggest butthole. Like,
exactly, and that's why they put him in there. You want to know who? If you want to go with characters that could have been in the game that are not in the game, but you're just like, oh, hey, you're here. Especially since you don't like Poison Ivy, they could have added Raish or Talia just because.
Exactly. I totally agree 100%.
They could have.
Yes. I would have loved to see Raish Al Ghul in this game.
It would have been great. But once again, him being in this game and the type of character he is, he would have had to been the center of attention. He couldn't be the center of attention.
He would have had to been the mastermind.
Yeah. And I'm like, unless they were actually going to use him as a way for how things are turning out, which with a Brainiac storyline, that would make zero sense.
You don't collide the two.
They're not gonna cross streams. It's not gonna happen.
Now, my wish list of a character is Jason Todd, of course. I think all of us would agree.
Yeah.
But I actually, and this is going down.
I'm still betting on it because the Joker's finisher.
Yeah,
I'm still betting on it.
Yeah, I can see that. But I would actually really like to see Cyborg Superman. I wouldn't mind seeing Cyborg Superman on there. I would have loved to see this character specifically is one of the newer characters, but I would even mind seeing the Atom. The Atom would have been a very good change, very good change from what we normally see on a roster because of the fact, and you could utilize his size being his character ability, where he shrinks down super small, and you have to fight this super small character.
I don't think it would have been implemented like that.
No. I think they would have just worked more so with that based off of his super than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
So, okay. We're going to go with you first, Yume. What character in the game that's in the game right now that we know that's actually in the game, no speculation characters, do you feel like that's going to be the character you're going to jump into training mode the first time you get the game? Like, this is the character you really want to use out of the gate.
So, out of the gate, like I said earlier, it's probably going to be Robin. It's going to be Damien. After seeing him, I even more so wanted to jump into him. Of course, I'm probably going to go back and main Batman and go back to Bane and probably even Catwoman. But I wanted to try out Damien and probably make him my main. And I also wanted to try out, for the life of me, I can't remember her name, but Wonder Woman's villain.
Cheetah.
Cheetah, yeah.
Damn, I forgot all about Cheetah.
Yeah, Cheetah, man.
Because she at the party. Like, oh, hey, you're here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this game has a lot of characters where you just like, oh, dang. Like,
well, that's because in the comics, a lot of those characters that would have been their replacements are no longer with us.
Yeah. So number one, Damien, and I'm probably going to go back to Batman, Bane, Catwoman, try out Cheetah, and try out Scarecrow.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm ready for Robin.
All right, what about you, DC Black?
I honestly don't know. The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of characters where I'm just like, they're interesting. But, I mean, I guess on the sheer fact of the dude's super moves, I'm probably going with Darkseid first. I'm probably going to...
He said, I'm going with straight broken, out the gate, GG, no read.
Like, I'm probably going to do Darkseid and Scarecrow.
Dude, DC Black said, cash me outside. How about that?
Beams outside.
I don't want to use. I kind of wanted to use Black Adam at first, but then I kind of didn't want to after I watched his gameplay. I was like,
"Oh, why? Because he's another character." It's like, "Oh, you're here." I'm sorry.
No, it's not even that. It's just like I was looking. I just was unimpressed. Like I just
by who again?
Black Adam.
I've been unimpressed with Black Adam since the first.
Yeah,
since
I just was unimpressed. Like he probably has one of the best supers in the game. But
no, Flash has the best.
No, he doesn't. He has
Flash is better than him.
I don't know about that, but I think those would be the. I mean, the Bat family is near and dear to my heart, so I'm definitely gonna go with the Bat family.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going back to Joker. I was waiting on him to be announced, but continue.
But I may dabble with Kara a little bit, just a little sprinkle of Kara. A little bit, but other than that, I honestly don't know who I would main. Like those characters would probably be the characters that I mess around with, see what goes on. I'm really interested in Darkseid just because of them Omega beams. Because I'm just like, bruh, Omega beams.
Fair enough. As for me, like I said, I'm not impressed really by most of the. Like, there's not one character that just absolutely screams, oh yeah, this is just going to be the character that I'm going to use. But after heavily having to think about all the characters, literally looking at their moveset and seeing what they have to offer, I think I'm going to end up maining the Flash. Specifically, I kind of want to main his Reverse Flash version, but I may not. We'll see. But I'm probably going to go with the Flash only because I realized that he has one of those things that I like in video game, which is super flashy combos. I don't know. I like the pizzazz of the character and how he goes from stances, can slow down time, do extended combos from the slow down time, which is the reason why, like in the first game I played with Killer Frost, is because her frozen mode allowed you to extend combos longer than they were supposed to.
That's what I just heard.
I'm sorry. When you stop talking about Dark Side, I'll listen to you talking about anything, bro. But anyway, of course, that's probably who I'm gonna go into the most, but I definitely see me using Captain Cold. Once again, Captain. I can see that character will probably have a lot of interesting ways to deal with situations, interesting ways to deal with opponents, has a nice keep away game, and can probably come up with a lot of ways to get out of situations that other characters could not get out of. So I'll definitely be trying to pick him up as that completely new to the series character. Other than that, I'll probably dabble with almost every character in the game. Specifically ones that I'll probably go back to would be like Harley. And I'll probably only use Harley because I've seen her moveset and I'm like completely familiar. I'll probably remember all of the main combos that she had in the first game.
If they didn't change them.
If they didn't change them, but from what I've seen, they haven't, because they still have her tantrum stance and everything. She still got the gunshots in the air and play doctor. So if she still has that, all I got to do is find the right block string to go in the tantrum stance for the wall bounces. And it seems like, from what I've saw, almost the exact same character with like minor changes. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably use her just as that backup character early on. Though I will say I am interested in testing out Supergirl. Other than that, every other character is like, this character, I'm fine with them being in the game. Not many stick out for me. But even with that being said, I'll probably dabble with all of them, simply because one of the main things that I want to try for this game is I actually want to get into beginner level combo videos. Just for anybody who's starting the game and are like, I don't know what combos to do. What can I do that's easy enough for me to pick up? And then I'll probably go into like a little bit more in-depth combos with characters like in little short, maybe 3-minute videos, just so people kind of have an idea of what they can do with their character, how they could easily put together a combo where if they're fighting someone who probably plays a little bit more than them, they can pick up those combos and still be somewhat competitive as far as like figuring out how to do damage.
Right.
So,
and I will say, like, and just touching on this briefly, another mode that I'm really interested in is multiverse mode. Like
you already talked about.
No, I was just saying just multiverse mode before. I was just saying, like, I think honestly, I will probably play multiverse mode more than the original story.
Okay. Well, I mean, the original story, I could see me playing that first. After you beat a story mode, though, I mean, do you really go back to it? Like, how many times can you say you played the Mortal Kombat story? Once.
I mean, yeah.
How many times did you play the original Injustice story? Once.
Played twice.
I played it once. It'll be twice once I play it again.
Well, to be fair, I played it after I have remember when we got it again on PS4.
Okay. See, I never played through it again. Like when we got it on PS4, we jumped straight into online. Realized the online was trash, and I was like, "Well,
do you think the online for this game gonna be trash?"
That I'm praying that won't be a problem this time around, because not gonna lie, Nether Realm Software has terrible net code for a lot of their games. It took them a year and a bunch of different upgrade iterations of Mortal Kombat to get it right. So I'm hoping whatever they use to get it right that time, they come out of the gate with it this time. Because the first Injustice game on PS4, trying to play online with someone who's literally not even a mile down the street from you, was almost like they were on a different planet entirely.
Well, alright. Well, here's my next question for you guys. Do you think this is Game of the Year material?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Especially with the games that came out this year. Absolutely not. being realistic. It's not even going to be fighting game of the year.
Yeah, I was about to say, because then you got Tekken.
You have Tekken. And if you haven't looked up, and we're not going to go too far into that, but if you haven't looked up all that they're putting in this new Tekken, as far as characters, content, yeah. Like, I'm going to enjoy Injustice, but I'm not going to lie.
Like, will Injustice 2 be good enough for competitions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Though I feel like a lot of people will go back to Mortal Kombat 10.
Yeah.
Because Mortal Kombat 10 seems like it's going to be it's still going to be a lot faster than Injustice. Injustice does not incorporate a run button, a cancel button, which is something that Mortal Kombat does. And I've noticed with competitive fighting games, the more broken the game is, the longer it'll last. Ones that aren't as broken as far as being able to do wild things don't last as long. Or ones that don't get updated don't last that long. Marvel would have lasted a lot longer if it could have kept getting updates. And it lasted extremely long, in my opinion, for it to not get updates after one update. So that lasted a long time. Street Fighter 4 lasted as long as it did because of constant updates. Street Fighter 5 right now, updates, dying out because there's barely any variety. Like, it's extremely apparent and people hate the game because they can't see or do broken things in the game because every combo and every character is kind of cookie cutter because you only got so many ways to do things because they made it so you can't combo off of specific attacks. And that was by design. Okay. I don't think Injustice is going to have that issue, but I also feel like there's going to be a point where people figure out characters and powers to the point where it's not going to be too much variety outside of changing character styles. Which, honestly, would add variety to the characters. But I feel like there's going to be a definitive version of each character, just like in Mortal Kombat 10.
Okay. Alright. Well, it seems like we all are pretty stoked about Injustice 2.
Definitely.
Is there any other things you guys want to bring up about the game that you are looking forward to? Any predictions on how the plot is gonna go?
Honestly, I have no idea how the plot's gonna go. I actually want to keep it that way because playing the games and seeing the story and seeing what craziness happens has always been good. Like I said before, me and you watched and went over a lot of the stuff that happened within the comics throughout the year, so I'll be prepared for some craziness for sure. But as far as story, I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm not even gonna mentally try to make a prediction. I want to be absolutely surprised.
Yeah, same. Usually, I'm always the first one that jumps into what the plot is, but for this one, I kind of just want to be surprised because I didn't even think. I don't even know. Like, I kind of figured there was going to be another Injustice, a continuation, but I mean, I didn't really think it was going to be. I honestly kind of didn't think it was going to happen. So to see that they got more to come after this, I'm stoked. I didn't read any comics. Maybe if I read the comics, I probably would have saw a continuation also. But so I'm happy that it's going in that route, and I can't wait to see what happens. Especially since they brought in Brainiac, I'm stoked to see that.
I will make a prediction based off the trailer because we got 5 parts to this trailer. I think that by the end of this game, we get a new Justice League, and it's going to look radically different from either team that Batman or Superman has. But I think at the end of this game, we also will get a kind of a sneak peek of where maybe part 3 can go.
Understandable. There's one more thing that I'd like to bring up because I feel like this is one of those things that happens with every game nowadays, especially with fighting games and DLC characters, which is a good reason why I feel like a lot of games end up dying out. They try to bring out the longevity of the game by releasing characters one at a time and releasing characters over the course of like a year or so to try to keep you playing the game. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way possible I'm probably going to be playing this game seriously for a year. And that's not to say that I won't like the game and all that, but I feel like if I was looking to keep the game fresh, one character at a time isn't going to keep the game fresh for me. Like, unless each character was an absolute character that I knew I wanted to play, no. Like, at this point, DLC characters I'm waiting for will be Red Hood and Static. And if those characters don't show up, I'm probably not even gonna, like, if I stop playing the game, I'm not coming back to the table until I see those characters. Like, everybody else, unfortunately, even though they may be pretty cool characters depending on who they come out with, but I can't see a character that I would actually come back for. They can virtually kick rocks at this point.
Wow, very, 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 very harsh words.
Pretty harsh words, but it's a practice in games that I hate when you have DLC characters planned before the game finishes, and then with those DLC characters, you don't just release them in bundles where you actually you release them one at a time every 2 months or something.
Would you be satisfied if they did it 2 at a time?
2 at a time, I'd be a little bit more satisfied, but I would expect, okay, you got 9 characters, let's do 3 at a time every 2 months. I would be fine with that. That way you get 3 characters to mess around with. You might like one. It'll give you options. It'll make it feel like, not like, okay, that's that one character that they came up with. I have no care for this character. Now I gotta wait another 2 months or whatever for somebody else that I might like, or I may, and then let's say, okay, these next 4 characters are all characters you don't like. Then it kills it. For instance, we're going to go with another fighting game, Street Fighter V. They were like, oh yeah, we're going to release all new characters for Season 2, which is okay, but it's like, what do you really have to look forward to? Like, they're all new. That's cool, but...
Wait, are they done releasing characters for that game, by the way?
No. Per Season 2... they released Akuma, which was the only returning character for Season 2. And then they're like, oh, the next 4 characters or 4 or 5 characters are all going to be brand new characters. Which were characters that's been in Street Fighter before but never been a playable character. So they released Colleen, and then they're releasing Ed. And it's like, okay. I mean, that's fine. And then next character, everybody thinks is going to be one of the Dow units, and it's like, that's fine, but can we get some Sakura? Can we get? And I hate that I'm saying this.
Blanca?
Can we get Sagat? Maybe can we get a little bit of Tiger Knee in there?
You don't want Blanca?
I don't think anybody wants Blanca.
Anyway,
besides, we got Laura.
My thing is, I'm just saying, you can't have a whole season of new characters when there's so many older characters, and they're doing that for the longevity of the game.
Like you said, this is the series where you got 100+ heroes and villains.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I do agree with you. One at a time, eventually you do lose interest. Especially if you do know the lineup and nobody interests you, you're not going to care.
Yep. And that's where I am.
Okay.
It's like, so at this point, I'm just hoping for, at
like
least the 2 characters that I really wanted in this game since the first Injustice.
Even though they're sort of kind of doing it, this would be the chance for them to get out there, B and C list characters.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This is it.
That
As DLC, this is it. This is their chance. Say... Well, they already did Firestorm, but I can't even think of
Dang, I forgot he was in there.
Yeah, Firestorm's in there.
I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in Firestorm, really. But I looked at some of his movesets, and I was like, it's going to be pretty cool doing a combo video for him. I even got the music that I'm going to play for the combo video for him, and you're going to like it. I think you're going to like it the most.
Man,
like almost gonna make you want to pick up Firestorm if I can get the combos to work out.
They can toss out Captain Boomerang is a character that they can toss.
Dude, how about the entire Rose gallery for Flash? Like throw the entire Rogue team as That should be a season. That should be a pack in itself.
I guarantee you, if you didn't watch The Flash or watch Legends of Tomorrow or read comics, you did not know. You don't know 5 villains for Flash.
No, you're 100% right. Like, until I legit started watching the Flash TV show, I had no idea. You want to know who I knew for Flash's universe, which I wasn't even sure if they were only mainly his universe? Killer Frost, yeah. Captain Cold. That was all I knew.
Like,
in Reverse Flash. But that was it.
I'm sitting up here like, honestly, like I was just like, dude, could we get maybe we got Reverse Flash as a skin, but I'm like, bro, can we get like
as a skin, right?
Well, just Reverse Flash. No, just Reverse Flash.
You don't have.
But I'm like, can we get Zoom? Can we get Zoom? Maybe could we also get and this is gonna be pretty funny if they do this, but actually, if we get Kid Flash,
yeah. But overall, yeah, that's kind of how we're feeling about the new Injustice 2 game. A lot of information from the Injustice comics. Definitely go out and read that. As I already mentioned, I'm going to try to do a Let's Play of the first game, and I'll probably drop that before 2 comes out. So be looking forward to that in the next couple of days, weeks, whatever. But yeah, this has been Save Point Overcast. Yume and the new rendition of DC Black instead of Chef C Black. DC Black just sounds a lot better.
I'm the Finn Balor of Save Point,
I guess. So, any quick closing remarks? Like,
no, I'm straight.
No. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next. The next major podcast we're going to be covering one of my favorite fighting games of all time. And that's Tekken.
Good old Tekken.
Gonna be a nice podcast.
Watch this bad. We're about to be 2 hours. Though.
Nah, I'll keep it short. We don't have all this lore to go into.
First off, don't be shady.
So, once again, this is Save Point. And we hope that you guys listen, you like it. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, like our page.
Use the hashtag SavePoint.
Hashtag SavePoint. And we're out.